before I get started with the midterm review and where all these documents I posted on here, I want to remind everybody, if you want some points added to your quadrilateral test, this is the week to do so. Remember, there's 4 days this week. I'm asking you to come in 3 days out of the 4, or some combination of 3 hours. So whether you do 2 days this week and then an hour on the Saturday to review, or a day this week and 2 hours on the Saturday to review, that's up to you. All right, how you want to do that, but that starts today after school if you want to recoup some points for your quadrilateral test. All right. All right, so let's talk about the midterm here. Just some basics about the midterm. I am not handing you anything else except for the midterm review packet. Everything else you need is on our Aspen webpage. If you click on the midterm review folder, you'll see a lot of documents on there. All right, let me first start where it says 2018 midterm review times. Those are the extra review sessions other than after school I will be available. So you'll notice I'm pretty available here for you. All right, for you guys to come in and ask questions on your own. So this Saturday, 12 to 3, I'll be here in the room. Monday from 9 to 12:15, I'll be here. Tuesday, basically all day. And then Wednesday, right before the test, 9 to actually, never mind. You guys aren't Tuesday, Wednesday. That's for my Algebra 2 kids. Sorry. You guys are Saturday, Monday. And then we have our test on that Monday. All right. So I'm not going to hand these out to you. They'll be up on Aspen. You'll know when I'll be available. All right. Any questions about the extra review times here? Okay. And also, if you want points back on your quadrilateral test, it's got to be done by Saturday. All right. I'm not going to go into midterm week. All right. It's got to be done by Saturday. Okay. Next up, construction videos. I don't know if I mentioned this in class or not. I think I did. I am not going to review any construction in class. And the reason is they take about 10 to 12 minutes to do each one. So now we're talking a fourth of class is already over, and I just answered one kid's question. Okay, so I will not review any constructions in class. If you want to come to the extra review sessions and review it and sit down with me, absolutely, I'll do it with you. Or last year, myself and one of the other geometry teachers, Mrs. Venezia, created a channel of all the constructions that you have. If you can just scroll down, these are all hers here. It must have been something she did for a class, but you see, starting with equilateral triangle, copy and angle, altitudes and orthocenters, we go through all the ways how to do all these different constructions. Some do not get freaked out. Like if you see rotations, we haven't done that yet. That's second half of the year. Okay, so stuff that looks unfamiliar, don't worry about it. But obviously stuff like, hey, here's a parallel lines. We've done that this year. Centroid, perpendicular bisector, midpoint, median. All these we've done. Okay, so if you want a little refresher on how to do it, just definitely, they're all here. All right, we've gone through every single possibility for you. All right, they're all here. Okay, or again, come in on your own time and sit down with me and do it, but I will not review any in class. Okay, so there's the construction video. If you get through all the midterm reviews and you still want extra practice, I certainly respect that. So I put an extra midterm review on here that I'm not handing out as a paper copy with the answers to it. Okay, so if you get down to maybe Sunday night and you're like, oh, I did everything I could, there's an extra midterm review with the answer key on there as well. Okay? Yes, anything? If you lose your packet, here's an extra one right up here, geometry review packet. Seating chart. Everyone take a look at the front of your review packet, please, that you have right out in front of you right now. You should have a place where it says seat number where you'll be sitting in gym A. This will be up here forever, all right? Or up until the midterm anyway. Okay, so if you want to see we're all in row R in gym A, there you go. Okay? I would highly appreciate it if you did not ask me next Monday, where am I sitting? All right, because I am one of the most focused, intense guys when it comes to midterm and Regents exam stuff. All right, that's the last thing I want to know. My answer honestly is going to be know your alphabet. Okay, know your alphabet. Know who you're sitting behind then. Okay, because I don't have time to go and look it back up. Okay, and it's on Aspen. You can look at it right before you enter the gym. So, all right, everybody good? And that'll be up there for a while. So in case you do forget, you can access it. Any questions right now on anything I've posted up here? I don't think I'm going to post anything else. So everyone all good? All right, the last thing. I am not going to post the answers ahead of time to the assignments in the midterm review because I just don't want you copying them down. Nobody saw the answer key to what I had you do 1 through 9 over the weekend. So what I'm going to do is right before you guys enter class every day, I'm going to post the homework answers. So get in the habit starting tomorrow, open up your Chromebook, go to homework answers, look at the previous nights, check yours with your partner. And then I'll start answering questions. Okay, so I will not post the answers to any homework until right before you guys, probably literally at the end of fourth period. All right, so that's what we're going to do right now. All right, I'm going to walk around to see if you did 1 through 9. While I'm doing that, open up the January 12th homework answers and start jotting down where I need to answer your questions from. Okay? I did not put any work in for my multiple choice because it is multiple choice. Okay, but you can at least see what I did for number 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so you guys do that right now as I walk around and look at your 1 through 9 that you did. Okay? So start checking your answers for me. And then after you guys check, I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Mark up whatever you have to mark up and get ready to ask the questions. Thank you, guys. Okay. So again, take another minute, look through, and then I will answer anything you guys had for me. Okay, anybody, while you guys are keep checking, Rachel, start us off. 7. And just so you know, I'm going to answer all the questions you guys had, and then I have a couple questions I want to do with you. All right, and that's how the whole week's going to work as far as midterm review goes. All right, everyone go to 7, and even if you got it right or wrong, because I may have you add in a couple extra notes here or there. Okay, looks like I got a line segment. Point M is between S and T. So this looks like S, T, point M is somewhere in between. Doesn't say if it's in the middle or not. So I'm just going to place a random spot. SM, x squared minus 8x. And MT, 18 plus 2x. The whole thing, ST, was 20. So what can I do with SM and MT to get ST? I can add them together. And that's exactly what I'll do here. X squared minus 8x plus 18 plus 2x equals ST, which is 90. I see a squared. We just got done with this from the quiz, and I know some of us still need a lot of help from it just by grading the quiz. I'm going to have 2 answers, hopefully, okay, which means I'm going to have to factor, aka, or use quadratic formula, whatever you prefer. So let me combine like terms first. X squared minus 6x plus 18 equals 90. You can't do anything until one side's equal to, what did we practice all last week? One side's equal to 0. So you end up with x squared minus 6x minus 72 equals 0. Now you're playing a little game. I need two numbers that multiply to 72 but are 6 apart. Or go right to quadratic formula if you prefer. Let's see, what it wasn't, let's see, 8 and 9, nope. 4 and 18, nope. 12 and 6. What do the signs have to be for me to make them add to negative 6? Negative 12 and positive 6. So x equals negative 6 and x equals 12. Okay. Now, we've talked in the past, maybe rejecting an answer. I will not reject negative 6 just because it's negative. If I do have to reject it, it's going to be because it gives me a negative length. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to my calculator. The easiest thing for me to do is to store negative 6 in for x. So I'm going to store negative 6 in for x, and I'm going to figure out what is x squared minus 8x. Ready? So I'm just going to go to my calculator. X squared minus 8x, and what type of number? That's a positive number. Didn't give me a negative value. Okay, and I'll do the same thing now for, what's the other one? 18 plus 2x. Everyone ready? 18 plus 2x gives me still a positive side. And what do the two add up to? 90, which I needed it to. All right, so did I reject that on my answer key? No? Good man. All right, so everyone see why I'm not rejecting negative 6. There's no need to. It gave me a positive length. So negative 6 and 12 would do the same thing. Actually, 12 would be fine. So both of them are going to get accepted. All right? Don't be surprised if you have to factor next Monday. All right? Don't be surprised. We've gone over it. Will?
I have 2 questions. Number 5.
Okay, here we go. Let's start with number 5. Find the value of x. All right, well, here's where I'm going to start. I know there's 180 degrees in every triangle. And I see this right triangle right here. I already know that 65 and 90 are in there. So I can at least find this angle right down here. 25. So that angle's 25 right down here. And I can do the same exact thing for this. See this triangle here, Will? That's 180 degrees. So I have 50 and 70. So let's see, what's that, $1.20? So I'm going to have 60 left. You still with me?
Yeah.
And you see a third triangle down here. There's also 180 degrees in this triangle down here. 60 and 25 give me 85. What's left over? 95. Okay, final step now. What do you know about? They're called a linear pair, and they add up to 180. So if that's 95, that's got to be 85. Okay. Yeah, well, everyone else, all right, how I got there. Is that the only way I could have gotten there? No, I could have probably gotten there some other ways, but using 180 degrees in a triangle was probably the easiest way. And I'm still listening, Will.
Number 8, I got it right, but...
Yep. With the partitions?
Yeah.
Okay. If you got there, there's multiple ways of doing partitions other than the way I showed you guys.
Minus 2 over 10 minus 4.
Well, that'll give you a slope. So the x is over the, okay, I'm still listening here.
Well, then I got 6 over 6, which reduces to 1 over 1. And then I just added 1 to each one, and then I got the right answer. I don't know about that.
Okay, well, let me go, because hopefully, I don't know if that'll help you next week when I have the partition question on the midterm. If I'm going to divide this in a ratio of 5-to-1, that's how many congruent parts? 6 congruent parts. So I do start with the x-axis here, Will, and I do go, all right, from 2 to 8, that's how many units? 6. And I got to divide it up 6 equal parts. It's all right, it happens. I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear it. 6 equal parts, right? So I'm going to go once every time, but take a look. It's the point that's 5 to 1. So you're just not going to go 1 unit. You're going to go 1 times 5. So I'm going to go 5 total units. Where did I start from on the x-axis, Will? 2. So I'm going to add 5 to that and get 7. Yep. And I'm going to do the same exact thing for my y's. I'm going to go from 4 to 10, which is also 6. It's going to look like the same thing now. I'm still going to go 5 units, but now it's 5 units on the y-axis from 4. And I'll be at 9, so 7, 9. But yeah, if other people have different ways of doing it, absolutely. Amy? Unit 5. Partitions, yes, unit 5. Right after we did centroid, we did this. Emily? Okay, here we go. You didn't have 11. It was 1 through 9. No, I know. You only had 1 through 9. I am going to go over number 11 during class today, though. No. Well, you completed most of the homework for the week then. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. You did. Homework's done for the week, I think. What'd that take you through? Midterm 3, 4? Okay. All right. Cam. By the first number there. Yeah. Because here, take a look. If this may be a disaster, but you said if I'm going to go 5 to 1, that's how many equal pieces? 6 equal pieces. Ready? So let me do my best here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not bad. 6 equal pieces, right? But I want the point that breaks it up into 5 on the left, 1 on the right. So that would be this point right here, because you see how there's 5 to the left and 1 to the right. So this tells me you have to go 1 unit every time you got to break it up, right? 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. But I need to get to that point. So I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total units. So that's why I ended up just multiplying by that number. Okay. Emma, let's go. Number 1. Perpendicular, yep. I have no idea what the slope of even that line is until I get it into y equals form. Okay, until I get it into y equals form. So here we go, a little help from everybody here. What do you want me to move over first to get y by itself? Oh, so you just want me to move it over right away? Yeah. All right, I like that. You could have moved the 5 and the 12 over separately, but hey, I'm all right with that. So negative 5x plus 12 equals 8y. Still not by itself. Divide everything by 8. So y equals, ready? Negative 5/8 x plus 12 over 8. What is the slope of this line now? Negative 5 over 8 is the slope. If you remember, what's the relationship between the slopes if 2 lines are perpendicular? They're called negative reciprocals, which means flip. Hey, everyone ready? Flip and change the sign. So flip it and change the sign. That'll be 8 over 5. Change up, just because I know what's coming up here. What if I change that perpendicular word to parallel? So we'd keep negative 5/8. Okay, if it was parallel. Maggie, you're up. Number 6. Okay, why are the 2 triangles? Okay, let me get the 2 triangles first here. What am I looking at here? RWU, yep. And SWT. So why are those 2 triangles congruent? All right, what am I given here? RSW is isosceles, which means those 2 are congruent. Let's see, W is the midpoint of UT, so definition of a midpoint, those 2 are congruent. And ST is perpendicular to WT. What do they form, right? angles here at angle U and angle T. All right, everyone ready? And I tried to really rope you in on this one to see if some of you, how should I put this, finally figured out that this is never still going to be a method, even on the midterm. Side angle, never a method. It's not one of the, like, I don't even, hey, do you notice? I don't even have to read any of this. I would just say, see you later. Now you got a 1 out of 3 chance instead of 1 out of a 4 chance. But here we go. What type of triangles are these? Right triangles. What do I call the sides across from the right angles? Hypotenuse, right? And the others 2 sides are called the legs. So I got a pair of legs and a pair of hypotenuse congruent. That's why I can do HL. Yep.
So just to be sure, is the angle RWU and SWT, are they vertical?
No, they are not.
Oh, okay.
If I watch, ready? If I kept extending them, all right, maybe, but not right now unless they're intersected.
Okay.
They are not vertical. Nope. Good question. Everyone all right on HL? Others, we've asked some great questions here. This is how it's got to be every day through the rest of the week. Any other questions? Because I'm going to do the rest of midterm 1 with you right now. Anything else? Okay, here we go. Let's get to number 10 now. I want to do 10, 11, and 12, hopefully. And then, Emily, maybe your question will get answered. Okay, go right ahead, everyone. These are graphing questions coming up. So number 10, give you a second to graph triangle ABC. Looking good. All right, let's do this. Using a coordinate geometry. Okay, so if I'm going to do a coordinate proof, 3 things pop in my mind. Midpoint, distance, slope formula. How many of those are going to be given to you next Monday? None, correct. Yes, none are going to be given to you. All right, so it is your responsibility to come in with distance, midpoint, slope formula, all down pat, all right? The only thing, we'll give you that reference sheet, but that just has what on it? Quadratic formula. That's the only thing that's going to help you on there. Okay, so remember that. All right, here we go. So show, do you know what it's asking here? What's it asking here, other than just reading me what it is here? The length of DE is half the length of AB. So what out of those 3 formulas we just mentioned, which one's going to help here? Distance. Keep your work organized. Keep it organized. What do you want to find the distance of first? You can, I guess, if you want to do some extra work. Why would you need AC? Oh, well, we don't need it says point D is the midpoint of, I guess we're going to need midpoint too. I didn't see that. D is the midpoint of BC, and E is the midpoint of AC. Okay, so you want to find the midpoints first? We don't need to find the length of them, but we do need to find the midpoints. Everyone ready? So let's find point D. So point D. What was the midpoint formula again? Add your x's and divide by 2. Add your y's and divide by 2. And this is the midpoint of BC right now. This is BC. So I will give you guys a second to find the midpoint of BC. Nice even numbers for you. What are we finding? Midpoint of BC should be 2, 0. Yep. So 2, 0 on the x-axis. That's going to be point D. And now we also have to find point E, which is the midpoint of AC. What do you guys have here? 0, -6. And hey, you get, what's a quick check to make sure you're finding the right points? They better land where? On those segments. All right. They better land on those segments, preferably right in the middle. Yes. All right. There's DE. So now you need to show me now that DE is half the length of BA. Now what formulas are we going to get out? Distance, okay? Anybody have a preference? Which one do we want to find first? Which one do we want to find? Remember what we're trying, DE and AB. Those are the two we're focusing on. AB, here we go. Distance of AB. Let's go through the distance formula again. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Or Pythagorean theorem if you guys choose to do Pythag. That is fine. Just keep everything organized. Plug in your coordinates. Go ahead for AB. Be careful because a couple of them are negative. What are you guys getting underneath the radical here? 144 plus 16? 160? How we doing? 160, 160. Let me know if we can't get that out. 160 underneath that radical. $160. Okay, let's break it down. Yep, let's break it down. What's 160 break down into? Oh, perfect square that goes into 160. 16 times 10. So, yep, it's equal to 4 radical 10. Okay, good. Now what do I also have to find the distance of? Not only AB, but DE. So use your new midpoints right now. Use your new midpoints. And let's find the distance of DE. And hopefully when you try to break it down, it's got some relation to 4 radical 10, hopefully. we starting to figure out? Square root of, for DE, square root of 40. Anybody try to break down 40? 4 and 10, which is 2 radical 10. Why is that great? Okay, so let's show that right now. Ready? Here we go. 3, last step. We can now say, go back to what we were asked to prove. What was the length of D? You ready? Length of DE was what? I know, but what was the length of DE? So 2 radical 10 equal to 1/2 times, what was AB? 4 radical 10. One more step, show that multiplication. What do you know 1/2 times 4? There you go. 2 radical 10 equals 2 radical 10. Midpoint distance, great problem. Oh, hold on. Anything you want to ask here before we move on? Because this next one's totally different. Before I forget, if something happens tomorrow where we don't meet because of the weather, please continue on the assignment sheet. Everybody good? So if we don't meet tomorrow, Thursday, you come in with Tuesday and Wednesday night's homework all done. All right, so I don't want to skip a day just because we didn't meet. Everyone all right on that? Clear? Don't skip a day on the assignment sheet. Keep going like we met for class. All right, next one. Here you go, Emily. I'll finally get to your question. Go ahead, graph HI. Okay, we're asked to write the equation of the perpendicular bisector. All right, let's take this into 2 parts. Let's take the perpendicular part and the bisector part separately. Okay. Perpendicular part. Well, we just went over this on question number 1. Somebody asked, what are you going to know about HI and the perpendicular bisector as far as their slopes go? Negative reciprocals. So first thing I need from you guys is, could you find me the slope of HI? All right, that's the first thing I'm looking for you guys is what's the slope M of HI? And you guys can do the slope formula or do rise over run right on the graph. Okay, that's a U call. We can do rise over run or the slope formula right on the graph. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 over 8, if I do rise over run. 1/2. Here's where you got to be careful. A lot of you guys have been making this mistake. You do this perfectly, but look at what the line's doing. It's going downhill left to right, meaning what type of slope do I have? Yeah, be careful, especially if you do change in y over change in x, you shouldn't have a problem. But if you do rise over run, all right, just make sure if it's going uphill or downhill. So what's the slope of your perpendicular bisector then? I got negative 1/2 for the line, the perpendicular bisector. 2, perfect. So I got the slope. Now let's use this bisector part, meaning my perpendicular bisector is going to go through the what of HI? The middle, aka the midpoint. So I need to find what's the midpoint of HI. Because that's where this perpendicular bisector is going to go through. So midpoint of HI. You guys we just used the formula. Midpoint of HI looks like 5, 3. Just do a quick check, make sure that's on there. Ding, ding, we got it. There it is. Yep. All right, you ready to write the equation? The equation is going to come in what form? Y equals mx plus b. Yeah! What two parts do we need? Slope. Got it already, don't we? We already have the slope. And we need b, which we don't have. We don't have that yet. But we do know a point it goes through and the slope. Is there any way I can use the point it goes through and the slope to get b? Do what to 5, 3? Plug it into y and x. What's the y coordinate? 3. You already know the slope of the line is what? The slope of my perpendicular bisector, remember. 2. X coordinate here? 5. And now you can tell me, solve for what that b is. So 3 equals 10 plus b. How you moving that 10 over? Okay, so b is going to be equal to. All right, so let's put the two together now. The equation of the perpendicular bisector. Y equals 2x, that was the slope, 2, and it goes through the y-intercept at 7. All right. Whew. Good review. We all right there, Emily? Answer your questions from that one? Anybody else want to ask here? Good day today. We got through midpoint, slope, and distance. Go ahead, Maggie.
Did you make the 2 negative when the multiplying? It's like -1/2. Or would you have to make it positive?
What do you mean here?
So you know how you plugged in the x? Oh wait, no, you don't. What did you plug in?
I plugged in the slope of the perpendicular bisector, which was the negative reciprocal of hi.
Oh.
Okay, and then I plugged in 5 for x and 3 for y. All right. Anybody else? All right, let's finish this off with the proof. I'm just going to give you a heads up. I'm going to go right to the bell, but if we don't finish the proof by the bell, part of that homework answer key has all the ones we've gone over already, including number 12 on there. Okay, so all the midterm review number 1 is in that homework answer key. Wow, look at all those givens. I don't think I've ever provided you with that many, huh? That's a lot of info. ADs and altitude. What do altitudes do? Good review here. Starts at a vertice. That's a median. Medians go to midpoints. It's perpendicular to the opposite side, meaning it forms a right angle. Yep. Look at all this vocab here. AD bisects angle BAC. So what's bisect mean again? Cut. So tell me two angles that are equal up here. Nice job. Those two are equal. Angle F is a right angle. I don't have to ask about that. And AC bisects DF. Anybody know what two segments are equal then? AC cuts DF in half. And what else do I have? E is congruent to DAB as well. E is congruent to DAB. Whew, all right. I like this one. And we're proving two triangles congruent. I like it. Can we do it? Can we prove those two congruent? What's one of the, you got 5 methods, right? Anybody see, just based on all our markings, what method it's going to be? I got the right angles, right? I got these two, and eventually, not right away, but eventually I'm going to have these two. What method is it going to be here? Is this side, ready? Is this side in between those two angles? Nope, so it's going to be angle, angle, side. All right, we made a plan. It's going to be angle, angle, side. Now we just got to write everything we marked down. Where do you want to start? Okay, so you're going to tell me that angle ADC is a right angle. And again, if we don't finish this, it's all under last night's homework answers. ADC is a right angle. Anybody got a reason why? Because it's not perpendicular lines here. Definition of an altitude. Altitudes form right angles, I think you're about to say, Will. Yep. All right, I'm still listening to you guys. We got everything marked beautifully, but we got to write it now. ADC congruent to F. Yep, I don't need to say F's a right angle. That was given. So angle ADC is congruent to F. All right angles are congruent. Okay, you got a pair of angles there. Nice job. So there's just to remind myself, there's a pair of angles. Where do you want to go now? Amy, go. DC is congruent to CF. Definition of a bisector. And that gives you the side we need. All right, how are we going to get those two angles then? Anybody see how this is going to get accomplished here? Will, first thing I got to say is what? I got to put these two congruent. And hey, can I just put them congruent in step 4? Because what's your reason going to be? Definition of a bisector. So instead of writing an extra step, hey, I'll pop those angles in there, sure. Same reason. So angle BAD is congruent to angle, what do we say, DAC, definition of a bisector. Then how'd you get those two then? No. This is in the given, Will. BDA, these two, E is congruent to DAB. These two are congruent in the given. But I want to make these two congruent. Substitution, yeah. So angle E is congruent to angle CAD by substitution, and then you could say the triangles are congruent. Nice job, everybody. Nice job. Again, no school tomorrow for whatever reason. Continue on the assignment sheet. I'll be here starting today for the quadrilateral points makeup.